Something random. It is time for another episode of hashtag TUGGtv, the first of 2022. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? Man, this year is starting out to be quite the banger, huh? A lot of gigs are getting cancelled, including my own, because Omicron. And I guess we're gonna have a lockdown very soon, because again, Omicron. Apart from that, how are you guys doing? Are you sticking to those New Year resolutions or have you already put them aside because Omicron? Anyway, in today's episode, we're gonna be answering the questions that you guys have asked us. So yeah, and before I get into it, this is your reminder to subscribe.
What are your top 5 albums of 2021? By the way, love your videos. Thanks a ton of Punjia. As always, it's people like you who kind of make us feel a bit more driven whenever we're doing these videos. Now, coming to the whole top 5 list, well, it would have been easy for us to actually follow the whole internet phase and tell you that, hey, Iron Maiden's got the best album, hey, Gojira's got the best album, hey, Spirit Box has the best album, and things like that. But, well, it isn't necessarily what we do here on TUGGtv, right? So if you're somebody who's clicked on this and expecting these albums to be on the list, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. This is going to be a bit of a mixture of the Metal Detector and the best of 2021 all put together, so hopefully you guys enjoy my personal list. Now the first album for me is going to be Hooded Menace with the Tritonus Bell. Now although this isn't necessarily a new band, well, this was the first time that I came across this band and I loved it through and through. It's pretty much like a creepy, doomy dish which is served to you with the best side of death metal which it has to offer. Now when you're looking at a combination like this, it's sure to hit your taste buds in all the right places. Now I'm not necessarily sure why this band isn't being talked about by quite a lot of people. They're still pretty much in the underground phase of things, but I would love to see a lot more listeners getting into this. It's not only the factor that this is a great band, and coming to the album itself, the production is really good. The tones of all the instruments sound really well. It's well structured, and well, this is an album that you guys have to listen to if you haven't. Now coming to my second pick, it has to go to Asphyx with Necrosaurus. It's pretty much like a tongue twister here and there. Now coming to the album itself, this is a straight up caveman metal album which is meant to kind of punch you in the face whenever you're trying to mosh in your room all alone. Now that's the best way that I can describe this album because it's got influences from all across the field. If you want thrash, they have it. If you want death, they have it. They have doom, they have pretty much everything what you're looking for. So there isn't anything else which I can talk about the album. It's a really good album. That's it. Now next on the list is Mastodon with Hushed and Grim. Now this album isn't necessarily a surprise for a lot of people who have heard this album. Now Mastodon has been around for like ages and ages, and if you haven't heard of these guys, well, kind of climb out of the rock what you're living under. Or well, when you think about the whole situation going around the world, it's okay, go back, go under the rock, stay there for a while, come back later on. But yeah, this was an album which I was waiting for from the time I heard that it was in the making, and for me personally, this is my favorite record of these guys after Crack the Sky. Now when the album itself has got catchy riffs, insane drumming and bass lines, and over the top vocals which are well gonna impress you no matter who you are, what else do you need in an album? Now even though this is a behemoth of an album when it comes to the runtime, which is approximately around 50 minutes, this is an album which is gonna make you keep hitting the repeat button all over again, and well, you're gonna be humming the songs too. Next up, Archspire, Bleed the Future. Now in all honesty, I'm not the biggest fan of tech death because well, I feel it's complex for the players which play it, but then it doesn't resonate with you too much. But this particular album pretty much changed my view on Archspire. As I said before, usually when I'm going through a tech death album, a couple of songs in, I'm like, yeah, we get it, you can sweep peak, you can play a million notes per second, you can play the most insane drum lines, but then am I gonna connect to it was my biggest question. And well, along with a few other artists, Archspire is slowly becoming this band which is, fusing together a lot of the tech death side of things to a bit of melody and catchiness and well, an infectious groove if you want to talk about it. Now these guys are just monsters whenever it comes to playing their instruments, and with that added layer of melody, well, this is pretty much like the gateway drug that a lot of people can use to get into tech death. Now the only other band which has resonated with me like this has been Allegiant, and well, I'm looking out for the new album in 2022 and it might actually make the list as well, the coming year that is. Last but not the least, we have Wolves in the Throne Room with Primordial Arcana. Now when you get a postmodern black metal band which kinda seems different and sounds a lot more better than the millions of, say, usual traditional black metal bands out there. What is not to like in this? Now, with this particular album, Wolves in the Throne Room pretty much bring you that whole atmosphere of cold, death, doomy, darkness to everything. Yeah, it's this whole sense of evilness. When you listen to the album, you can just pretty much sit there with like a glass of wine and go, Satan. All in all, it's a pretty killer record for the people out there, and well, this is a band which even I'm pretty much getting into, so quite a lot of surprises which are there for me ahead. Hopefully, those are good ones. So yeah, get ready to explore the woods with these guys, and then once you come back from the forest, well, let us know how the whole experience was. Although all the albums which I talked about are in no particular order, there was one particular album which stood out to me and well is kind of like a guilty pleasure for me for this particular year. And that has to be Limp Bizkit with Still Sucks. Now I know this opinion is gonna give quite a lot of like polar reviews from all of you guys, but then I kinda enjoyed the album and well had fun the whole way listening to it. Quite a lot of songs stick in your head and kind of never leave just because of the way they are. And yeah, it did remind me of the good old days when Limp Bizkit was still fun to hear. So just to clarify, this isn't an album which is like the top tier or like the best album of any time, but then it's just a fun album to listen to and you guys should definitely check it out if you haven't. And you can let me know if this still suck.
Now, before I start off with anything, one question which we have received a lot on the channel from a lot of you guys is where we get our merch from. Now, what I am particularly wearing right now, I actually got from the States a while back when I had a friend coming over. But most of our merch otherwise comes from a gentleman whose name is Salim. Basically has a shop called Wise Guy, which is on 5th Avenue, Brigade Road, Bangalore. Now, if you guys aren't in Bangalore and, you know, with the whole lockdown situation, tension arising, if you do want to go ahead and chat with him, I'm going to leave his number in the description. You can WhatsApp the guy, just let him know that, you know, you're talking about merch and all of that. And then he can go ahead and share his catalog with you on WhatsApp. Then you can probably discuss, you know, with him what you like and how you want it ordered. If you are outside of Bangalore, you might need to go ahead and look into shipping, but that's something you guys can discuss with him directly. Really, really cool dude, has some really awesome merch. So yeah, if you are looking to get in touch with the same person we go to and buy our merch from, his name is Salim. The name of the shop is Wise Guy in Bangalore. Check it out. Now, along with Wise Man, you also have a couple of other places where you can pick up your merch from. The first one is Rock and Roll Originals. Now, this is a newer, you know, entity in the game, but then they have a wide range of artists and, you know, pretty much a lot of bands that they're dealing with, both Indian and international. Now, along with this, you also have Metal Masala, which is one of these places where you can pick up really, really underground bands, and well, sometimes the kind of things what you get are gonna surprise you. Now, as usual, the link and contact details to all of these platforms are going to be mentioned down in the comments below. Sumit asks, the nut of my guitar came off. Is it okay to use Fevikwik to fix it, or are there any other available options? This has also happened to me. It in fact happened on my Greg Bennett. So here's the thing. If a piece of the nut has chipped off, like a portion of the nut itself has, you know, sort of chipped off and you want to glue that back together, go ahead and use Fevikwik. I used Fevikwik. It's perfectly all right. It's been about 2 years now, no problems at all. On the other hand, if the nut itself has got sort of dislodged from the wood and you want to use Fevikwik over there, technically you can, but keep in mind that Fevikwik is quite a strong glue and we don't know how it's going to affect, you know, how it's going to eat into the wood and all that stuff. And I don't know if you want to be risking that. It would be a better option to probably just use like wood glue or something like that. There's plenty of options available on Amazon, which you can go ahead and do. Another reason you want to use wood glue is because if you want to replace the nut at a later point in time, it's a little bit easier to go ahead and get off, because with Fevikwik, you know, sometimes it glues it really, really strong, and when you're taking it out of your guitar, you could end up chipping off a little more wood, doing more damage and all that stuff. So yeah, if the nut itself has broken loose and you need to glue it together, Fevikwik, no problem. But if you're putting it onto the wood, you know, the space where the nut is going to sit, probably use wood glue.
Does this affect the sound of the guitar? Okay, this is a question which was asked on our video on how to block your Floyd's bridge on your own, and it's a very easy process. If you guys haven't checked out the video already, well, we'll have the link here or in the description below as well. Now, coming to the actual question, well, doing this process, it does change your tone by a bit, but it's not very marginal and you can barely hear it. Now, what it comes down to is the factor that your resonant decay is slightly lesser now that your block is actually touching the guitar. This is because of the stack of coins, what you would have actually embedded there in place. And another major thing which plays part when you think about it is the kind of material what you're going to use for wrapping your coins together. Now, for our particular video, we had used sellotape, which is not too much of a destroyer of tone when it comes to things like that. But if you are somebody who's using a thicker tape or kind of keep wrapping it and making it thicker, this is going to act as an absorbent and kind of capture all of the vibrations which are coming off the block. So whenever you're using this solution, just make sure you add the thinnest layer possible and it doesn't interfere too much with your sound. Now, in pretty much most of the situations here, the change is barely noticeable, and especially if it comes to metal where you're using a lot of high gain tones, it's pretty non-existent when you think about it.
Isaac Got Nothing asks, how to start a career as a metal/rock guitarist in India? Have been thinking about this because I'm still young and that's what I want to do. Love from Nagaland. Alright, first things first, bro. Isaac, love from Bangalore. Love you guys. Thank you so much for all the support that you've been showing us on the channel. Now, coming to the point, the question that you asked, how to start a career as a metal and rock guitarist in India. I want to first make very clear, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It is going to be incredibly difficult. Now just remember that we come from the land of Bollywood. We're about 1.4, whatever, almost 1.5 billion people, and 90% of that population listens to Bollywood, which means if you want to get noticed, if you want to get into a situation where you're doing paid gigs, or if you're doing session guitar again as a paid individual, you're going to have to play in clubs and pubs, to earn money, and you're going to have to play some of the popular music, which means you are going to end up playing a lot of rock, which is essentially Bollywood, and you're going to have to make your peace with that. Another thing that I've noticed a lot of Indian bands are doing, and this does tend to work, we've seen plenty of them on YouTube, you can look at putting out cover music. So you can go ahead and take like these Bollywood songs, the more commercial songs, and make them a rock version, make them a metal version, and see how that goes. Again, rock might be a little more accepted as opposed to metal, because metal, it is going to be difficult for you to get gigs. That's just the reality of it as compared to rock, purely because there's a wider audience for it, and the more commercial you go, the bigger the audience is going to get. The chances of you earning money is going to be better. Having said that, you gotta keep in mind it is not going to be smooth sailing. The money is not going to be as awesome as it probably would from like an IT job or something. So the chances are you are going to end up doing like having a primary job and doing this on the side. If you want to do this full time, just remember you're going to be doing a lot of sessions and you might need to steer towards the commercial side of things. That's just, the reality of it. But hey, that's again my personal opinion. Don't beat me up on it. Also keep in mind collaborations might be useful. You can definitely go ahead and consider doing that. You can collaborate with guys like maybe Bloodywood after a period of time, but maybe look at also doing collaboration with rap. This is something I've personally been thinking about. I do want to do like a metal collaboration with Hindi rap, because there are some really good rappers out there and there's plenty to talk about, in our social situation. So keep an open mind and go with the flow. Please suggest me a guitar, specific model, under rupees 20,000, maybe a 1,000 up or down. My focus will be on pickup quality, it stays in tone, and be reliable for years. Alright Panchal, if we are going to zero it down to one particular instrument, since that is what you have asked, and if we are going to be specific to that budget, I am going to go ahead and recommend that you look at the Schecter C1. Now my logic behind this is very simple. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but is oftentimes better than a master of one. This guitar has a lot of balance. It doesn't have one awesome thing that stands out and then 10 other things which kind of do not, which tends to happen in a lot of other brands. Schecters tend to have a consistent amount of quality. They've got decent quality when it comes to the build, The tuners are quite stable, again, very, very decent quality over there. The bridge is good. Even their pickups at stock are really, really nice sounding and they work well for metal. Apart from that, they also give you a little bit of additionals, things like the whole, coil tap and push pull. It does come handy if you want to vary your style and, play more versatile music. So going by that front, and of course, not to forget, it fits perfectly into your budget and for the kind of music that you want to play and do. So yeah, Schecter C1, my suggestion.
Well, Pranshul, whenever it comes to guitars under 20,000, there is only one workhorse for me which is a perfect guitar, and that's the Ibanez GRG 121. Now, this is a guitar which has had multiple iterations over the years, but well, one of the things which stayed common among all of these was the stability of the whole guitar. Now, the pickups that these things come with is pretty phenomenal for the price point, and well, the hardware is pretty good as well. Now, by having a fixed bridge, it pretty much becomes easy for you to keep the guitar in tune and also maintain it, especially if you're a beginner. Now, my particular guitar has been banged up over the years and it's still been performing even to this day. Now, what I love about this guitar is the fact that with a few small changes here and there, it can pretty much be your primary guitar at a later point of time as well. Now, this might look like a fairly basic guitar, but trust me, the performance and the tone that it gives out is one of the best that you can come across in the entry-level guitars. The best shredder, according to you. Okay, you guys might consider me a bit old school when I say this, but then for me especially, the best shredder has to go to Paul Gilbert. He's one of these people who's got the dexterity and the groove when you think about it, especially in the songs that he makes. He makes memorable riffs, It's not the same old, okay, hey guys, look how many notes I can play. Hey, I can sweep and da 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 da. Now, there is a sense of finesse whenever you hear him play, and well, these are the things that stick with you. Like, pretty much right now, I can remember quite a few songs of Paul Gilbert's which are stuck in my head, which I can't get out. But well, when I think about a lot of the modern shredders, it's just a bunch of notes all together, and it's quite impressive at that moment, but then it doesn't stick too much to you, especially if it's been like a year or two after you've heard the song, and well, you kind of want to revisit it and you have no idea what it is. But Paul Gilbert, well, that's gonna be a memory for you for the rest of your life.
I'm not particularly one for shredding, and it's not that I don't like it, it's just that I don't think that is the whole and soul of what makes a guitarist awesome. But yeah, in terms of shredding work, Jeff Loomis is someone who comes to mind. But him, of course, more so from the holistic and the entire overall perspective in terms of like the shredding and sweeping and the combination of all of that. But apart from that, if I have to consider the best shredder, the dude is who he is. I don't care about him personally, but it has to be Yngwie Malmsteen. He's a damn good guitarist and a damn good shredder. You gotta give him that. What was the song that made your jaw and drop? Only was The Punishment Due. So this was like somewhere back in like the late 90s where we'd go to this place in Bangalore called National Market, and then we'd get like these MP3 discs. And I was just about getting into metal music. I just started listening to stuff like Iron Maiden and all of that, and I wanted to explore this path a little more. So I'd go to this one dude I knew over there, and I'm like, give me metal music. And they just have like this one MP3 CD that they'd give you with like multiple artists, and then I had to put it in the CD player, and those back in the day would not display all the details, at least mine didn't. It would just give like the track number or whatever. And then I heard this song and it blew my head off completely, and I went on to listen and to listen and to listen. And then you pull out the CD, and inside they've got like this little Xerox copy where they mentioned which track is what, and that's how I kind of figured out that I'm listening to Megadeth. And that's how I got into them. I gotta be honest, even now when I listen to them many a times, it still blows my head off, man. I mean, Dave Mustaine, but yeah, he's a freaking genius guitarist, man.
Now, let me take you back to a simpler time, somewhere around 2003, 2004. This was when I was pretty much getting into metal, and I'd heard a lot of new metal back then, Linkin Park, Korn, things like that. And I was kind of dipping my feet into thrash metal. This is when one of my friends recommended that there's a band out there called Megadeth and I should check it out. So that's when I ran to the nearest audio shop and then, picked up this. And when I say this, I don't exactly mean this CD per se, I just picked up a cassette version of the same thing. Now, I could have pretty easily gone with Holy Wars or Rust in Peace, the title track, with, because they were pretty killer, but then there was one song which kind of took a step ahead from both of these. And that's Hangar 18. Now, from the moment that the song started, it was a wall of sound which pretty much hit me. And well, the transitions, the solos, and the pacing of the song is amazing. Now, for me as a kid, this was pretty much a very different experience. And well, this kind of laid down the blueprint for the kind of music which I wanted to get into, the kind of music which I wanted to play. And well, the rest is history. We'd love to know which are the songs that you guys fell in love with. So make sure you comment the song down below. And well, you might drop somebody's jaw or balls off.
Any guitar improving resolutions? Bro, my resolution was to start playing live again and start gigging. Look at what Omicron did. But yeah, that still continues to be something that I want to continue to focus on. So probably once this whole, Omicron thing settles down, the Mutiny gig is still expected to happen. So I'm going to be playing with them. And like I mentioned, a few other projects that I'm going to be doing with some buddies. So yeah, it's kind of what I'm going to be doing.
Well, Joey, for me personally, I think I want to delve into a lot more of the theory behind the music. Pretty much till date, I was somebody who kind of used to learn patterns and play the guitar in this sort. So yeah, that's going to be one of the major ones. And also a big one is going to be the factor of using the extended range guitars, which is the 7 and 8 string. I know I haven't been paying attention to them for a while now, and I would love to, experiment with them, kind of do a lot more things as well. And since I finally got my RG8 upgraded with the new Ludgren pickups, well, it's gonna be an amazing journey going ahead.
Alright folks, and with that we come to the end of another video of #AskTUGGtv. Thank you guys for the questions. Hope we were able to answer that to your satisfaction. Keep the questions coming. If you got anything you want to ask us, the comment section is open over here, or you can ask us in any of our social media handles. This is TUGGtv signing off. I will see you in the next one. Until next time, stay metal.